Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Beth, here to help you fulfill your potential in meditation. As most of you know, I don't have just one method that I teach to everybody, like one size fits all. Instead, I much prefer to teach people one-on-one. And the reason is that you're all different. So please use these videos as a guideline, and if there's anything that isn't quite working for you or anything that doesn't quite fit, then be in touch. I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. Today's video is about overcoming fear when it arises in our meditation practice. Now, the first thing that we need to know about fear is that it's a very common experience amongst meditators. So if you're experiencing fear in your practice, please know that you're not alone. And the second thing that we need to know about fear when it arises in meditation is it's not always a sign that we're doing something wrong. In fact, it's often a sign of our progress in the practice. But if we want to work through that fear and continue in our meditation, then we need to understand which kind of fear we're experiencing. Now, broadly, there are 4 different kinds of fear that we can experience in meditation. So let's take these one by one. The first kind of fear is what I will call historical fear. Now, the Buddha gave a wonderful simile for meditation. He described it like cleaning out a dirty cloth. And when we clean out a dirty cloth, the first thing that we see isn't a bright, shiny white cloth. The first thing that we see is all the dirt coming out. And our minds are the same. So when we start out in meditation, the first thing that we see isn't a bright, shiny mind. The first thing that we see is all of the dirt coming out. And oftentimes that dirt is historical. It could be in the form of past fears, past grief, past anger. And as we start to meditate, all of that past dirt comes back into our awareness. Now, if those past fears, historical fears, are coming into our awareness, it's really important that we greet them with a lot of loving kindness and acceptance. We want to give the kind of wise attention to those fears that they needed in the past but didn't get. So lots of loving kindness, reassurance, acceptance. Now, the second kind of fear that we can experience in meditation is what I will call the fear of something new. As we continue to deepen in the practice, it's normal that we will experience new things that we haven't experienced before. And as we have these new experiences arise, it's normal that either fear or excitement will arise. Now, if we're experiencing this kind of fear in our meditation, the fear of newness, there's nothing to be done but practice more. As we practice more, we're going to build familiarity with these new states, and with familiarity, we will start to feel safe in them, and there'll be no more grounds for that fear to arise. So, fear of something new, we meet with more practice and building familiarity. The third kind of fear that we might experience in meditation is what I will call the fear of renunciation, or the fear of letting go. Again, as we deepen in the practice, we are called to let go of or renounce some of our deepest held attachments. This could be things like attachment to our thinking and logic, attachment to the 5 senses, to the body. And oftentimes when we're called to let go of these things, we experience fear. It's the kind of fear of, I don't know who I will be without these things. I'm not sure I'll be safe without these things. Now, when we experience this kind of fear in practice, we need to call on our faith and our bravery. We need to remind ourselves that the Buddha told us this is the right direction. And also, many wise people since the time of the Buddha have reassured us this is the right direction. This is the direction of our progress. Sometimes I give this simile that it's as if we live on the other side of a dark forest. So it's late at night and we want to get home, but between us and home is a dark forest. And sure, the forest is scary, sure, there's all sorts of animals that live there, but we want to get home. And so we ready ourselves, we call on our faith and our bravery, and we go forwards anyway. This is the kind of mind that we need when we're experiencing that fear of renunciation or letting go. We call on our faith, we call on our bravery, and we continue to go forwards anyway. Now, the last kind of fear that we might experience in meditation isn't really a kind of fear, it's a kind of wisdom. And this arises at a very specific stage of our Vipassana practice called Bhaya Jnana. Now, usually this is translated as knowledge of fear, but at this stage of Vipassana, we are not experiencing any kind of aversive state. There's no emotional fear. Instead, we are fully accepting or fully embracing the fearful nature of the arising and passing away of ultimate reality. We're fully embracing, fully accepting that there's no benefit to it. All there is in materiality mentality is the continuation of suffering. Now, when we find ourselves in this kind of Vipassana Jnana, the knowledge of fear, there's nothing to do but sustain our attention on that truth. As we sustain our attention on that truth, we allow our Vipassana practice to evolve to deeper levels of disenchantment. So, those are the 4 different kinds of fear that we can experience in our meditation practice. And as you will see, oftentimes it's not a sign that you're doing something wrong, rather it's a sign of progress. So, if there's anything that you're confused about or anything you're unsure of, if you're experiencing fear in your practice and you don't know what to do with it, then be in touch. I'll be more than happy to discuss the details with you one-on-one. But now is the time to get off of those screens, get onto the cushions, let's actually do the practice. There's a remainderless ending of all suffering, so let's not waste time. As most of you know, I do all of my work on a donation basis. So I encourage you to support me either through Patreon or through my website so that I can continue to make these videos. Thank you so much for your support. Wishing you the best with your meditation.